Okay, guys, welcome back. So last week your assignment was to look into decontamination for drones. We've been talking about using drones during the COVID-19 pandemic, with helping with the coronavirus and stuff. So a lot of what we've looked at is using drones in place of people. So we're not putting people into the high risk of contamination category, to kind of distance ourselves, but using the drones to do that work, by relaying messages and checking out areas, delivering packages and supplies, stuff like that. But even though we're removing us from the contamination factor, we're sending the drone in there, and and the virus can live on surfaces for hours and even up to days, depending on the type of surface and the conditions. So even though we're not stepping in there, being face to face with somebody else to get contaminated, we're putting our drone there. Then we fly our drone back to us, land it, and we pick it up to put it in the box, and now we're in contact with those contaminants, the virus itself. So that could cause an issue and be very counterproductive for the measures we're trying to take. Um, this isn't something new. This isn't a new challenge that we're trying to figure out. It's just something that people might not have thought about rather openly, in the early stages of this, unless they're used to that, because public safety, like fire departments, medical responders, and police departments, they've been having to worry about contaminated drones for a while when they're doing hazmat incidents or hazardous material incidents, trying to figure out what kind of chemical has been spilled or is being released into an area. They'll send the drone in, with its gas readers and stuff like that to figure out what kind of chemical they're dealing with. But then they've got a contaminated drone, much like we're going to have. So then they've got to deal with that. So luckily, there's been stuff pre-developed for that. But drones used in biological or chemical hazmat incidents need to be properly decontaminated before being put back into service. Um, the drones themselves are loaded with sensitive equipment, and a careful approach is recommended, as traditional decontamination methods can damage critical components of the aircraft. So if we're flying our DJI Enterprise Dual, or DJI Matrice Enterprise Dual, we can't just bring it back and spray it down with soap and water and call it good to go. We can't just spray it down with Lysol, because we're going to contaminate, or not contaminate, but we're going to corrupt the electronics, damage the motors, could damage the camera or whatever payload system we have on there, because we didn't do it the proper way. Because the Mavic Enterprise isn't waterproof. The motors aren't sealed, so all that water will be going straight into there, and that'll cause big electrical issues. Might cause more harm than good. Fortunately, a drone decontamination kit has been developed by DJI's public safety channel partner FlyMotion, in partnership with First Line Technology and Southern Manatee Fire Rescue. And it's basically a ready-made kit that can decontaminate the drone as well as the person that's decontaminating the drone. So you can use everything you're using to decontaminate the drone, turn right around and use it on yourself. So you're decontaminated. Pros of decontamination is that the decontamination of sensitive equipment such as drones allows responders to utilize these tools in potentially dangerous environments without the concern of chemical or biological contamination to the people themselves. So the Dalgreen Decon solution can be used to decontaminate the responders as well as the equipment. Ability to decontaminate a drone allows first responders to remove the human element from potential exposures and task the drone with some of these dangerous missions. Cons are contaminated aircraft and batteries can no longer be launched, landed, or changed in the clean or what is called the cold zone, which can be difficult from some pilots. We're used to taking off and landing right in front of us or within 15 feet of us. If we're doing one of these type of missions, a hazmat or something where the drone could be contaminated, and if we're flying from outside the area into the area, we won't be able to fly that drone back to us. So we'll have to have an alternate landing area that's in designated what would be the warm zone, which is outside of the hot zone, which is where the virus is or where the hazmat is. The warm zone is the next layer outside of that, where all the decontamination and stuff takes place. And then outside of that is the cold zone. So you'd have to have a landing zone inside the warm zone, and that's where you're gonna have to land to get battery swaps. You're gonna have somebody in there to to be able to swap your batteries, change out payloads if that's going to be needed. Just however that goes. So with us being used to taking off and landing the drone right in front of us, having to do it several hundred feet or yards away from us might be a little different, because we still have to maintain the visual line of sight and all that. So that there's the issue there. Aircraft and batteries will need decontamination prior to utilization on other incidents. Once the decontamination process is completed, the aircraft needs set time to dry, which could take up to 48 hours depending on environmental conditions. So again, that's where, if you decontaminate, it's going to take 48 hours, so you're not going to decontaminate after every flight if you're doing multiple flights in this one area. That's where the whole battery swap is going to be. But if you're going to go from one place to another, then you're going to have to, or if you're going to put it in the box, you're going to have to decontaminate it, let it sit for 2 days before you do anything else to make sure it dries. So that's all I've got on that part. For your assignment today, we are going to be watching a video, or I've got a link for YouTube, and with that you are going to be watching basically drone crashes, and in that I want you to go through and tell me kind of what happened, but primarily I want to know if the accident is reportable or not reportable. With 107.9 in accident reporting, if you have to report to the FAA any drone accident within 10 days of the accident if it causes serious physical injury or loss of consciousness. So if someone gets knocked out by a drone hitting them, or they go to the hospital, then that has to be reported. Or if the damage to property is $500 or more, not including the drone itself. So we're going to take a look at this video, and I will kind of walk you through it through an example. And this video is in the video that you'll be watching, so it'll be several. As long as you do 2 or 3 of them, I'm satisfied with that. So you see here we've got a drone flying. It looks like 3 drones, and bam, we've had a mid-air collision, drone to drone. Both of them are DJI Inspires. Now, in our accident reporting, the damage amount, the $500, doesn't count for our drone. So if we have a $30,000 plus DJI Matrice 300 with the H20 camera, and we crash it, we just crash it into the ground. We don't have to report that because it's our drone. It's our own personal loss. But if we cause financial loss to someone else of $500 or more, then we have to report that. So, one, we would have to report this because even though it's not stated in 107.9, we've got an aircraft-to-aircraft collision, mid-air collision. So that would have to be reported. But number 2, your Inspires cost more than $3,000 a piece. So since you crashed your Inspire into somebody else's Inspire, you're going to have to report that because that's more than $500 in damages. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, just whether or not I'm going to have to report it. Again, accident reporting is found in section 107.9 per the Federal Aviation Regulations, FARs, if you need to refresh on that. I'll have the link posted in our classroom. Click on the link, watch the videos. I think altogether there's 9-10 minutes worth of videos, which is about 10 clips of drone crashes. And so pick out a few, or you can do all of them and tell me if they're reportable and why. So if there's any questions, comments, let me know. You can always call, text, or email me. I hope everyone's doing well. If you need to talk to somebody, always reach out to me. I'm always here. And with that being said, I will see you next time.